A $410 million mansion in Hollywood, tunnels no one was meant to find, and bodies hidden where luxury should have been. Was this just a home, or the darkest crime scene Hollywood has ever seen? Imagine walking into a mansion worth hundreds of millions and finding claw-marked tunnels, secret rooms, and human remains. This isn't a movie, it's real, and the FBI says the truth is far worse than anyone imagined. $4.1 million mansion. Secret tunnels. Multiple bodies. The internet is calling it the Hollywood horror house, but the scariest part? The investigation has just started. Behind the polished gates of Hollywood's most glamorous mansion lies a secret so terrifying, even FBI agents went pale. The question is, how many more bodies are hidden under the glittering surface of fame? Imagine stepping inside a mansion worth over $410 million and stumbling across a tunnel no one was ever supposed to see. What's hiding in there isn't luxury, it's something that made seasoned agents turn pale. Was this more than a crime scene? Could it be the piece that connects multiple hidden victims? Social media thinks so. Theories are flying, hashtags are trending, and everyone is asking the same question. Was this mansion a glamorous home, or the set of a real-life horror story? What investigators uncovered sounds like something Hollywood itself would try to bury. Bodies, secret rooms, digital trails, and evidence pointing to a dark empire that was finally starting to crack. It all began on a bright Tuesday in the Hollywood Hills, the place where wealth shines on the surface, but shadows run deep. At first, D4vd's $4.1 million estate looked like any other celebrity fortress, palm trees swaying, polished gates, and a driveway packed with luxury cars. But beneath the gloss, something terrifying was brewing. The FBI had already been circling the property after a disturbing discovery: the decomposed body of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas found in a Tesla trunk. That horror had shaken the city, but whispers suggested it wasn't the end. The moment federal agents crossed the threshold of the mansion, the atmosphere shifted. It was as though the walls themselves were keeping secrets, pressing down on everyone inside. What was supposed to be a straightforward 12-hour search began unraveling into something far more sinister. Each room seemed to whisper of hidden truths, every locked door a puzzle waiting to be solved. The investigators moved carefully, step by step, documenting everything. With every sweep, the house revealed fragments of its hidden past. Even the most spotless corners betrayed signs of what had once happened there. Luminol testing made the invisible visible, illuminating faint smears and patterns of blood that had been scrubbed away with meticulous effort. It was a chilling reminder that the mansion, no matter how polished, had been a stage for something terrible. What truly unsettled the team was not just what they found, but how deliberately it had been concealed. Behind a wall in the basement, they uncovered a narrow passage that spiraled into darkness. The tunnel's air was stale, suffocating, and carried the weight of silence. Investigators noted claw marks on sections of the stone, suggesting moments of desperation few could bear to imagine. This wasn't just a house, it was a labyrinth designed to hide nightmares. The mansion, once known as a trophy of fame and success, was beginning to transform into something else entirely, a monument to secrecy, manipulation, and horror. As word of the raid leaked online, the outside world erupted. Fans, skeptics, and amateur detectives immediately began piecing together timelines, sharing theories, and dissecting every clue. Social media became an open-source investigation, with millions glued to their screens, speculating about what the authorities would find next. Videos surfaced of investigators carrying out sealed evidence boxes, their faces grim and unreadable. Blurry photos of the tunnels were shared thousands of times within minutes. To the public, the mansion became less of a home and more of a crime scene that symbolized the dark side of celebrity culture. People were horrified, but they couldn't look away. Forensic teams cataloged hidden storage compartments, electronic devices, and coded journals buried deep within the property. Each discovery layered the mystery further, raising the same haunting question: just how much darkness could be hidden behind glittering fame? Psychologists who studied the case began speaking publicly, suggesting that the mansion wasn't just a hiding place, it was a carefully constructed tool of control. The architecture itself reflected a pattern of planning, secrecy, and psychological manipulation. Meanwhile, in the courtroom, the drama only intensified. D4vd's legal team issued carefully worded statements that were instantly dissected by the public. Some fans clung to the belief that their idol was being framed, while others accepted the growing evidence as undeniable. Every phrase, every hesitation, was pulled apart on live streams and podcasts, as though the world itself had turned into one massive jury. The music industry moved swiftly to cut ties. Labels dropped collaborations, brands erased campaigns, and festivals scrubbed his name from lineups overnight. What had once been a career projected to generate millions in revenue evaporated in days. Analysts described it as a financial earthquake, with ripple effects stretching from streaming platforms to merchandise suppliers. Fame, they argued, had never seemed more fragile. Yet, as devastating as the professional fallout was, the deeper story lay in what investigators continued to uncover. Prosecutors began hinting at charges beyond murder, conspiracy, evidence tampering, and even the possibility that the mansion had been used repeatedly over time. Anonymous sources whispered about additional victims, each revelation sending shockwaves through online communities. The case was no longer just about one crime. It was about an entire hidden world of exploitation. TikTok users created 3D models of the tunnels, Reddit threads mapped possible secret rooms, and Twitter exploded with theories about accomplices and financial cover-ups. The mansion's luxurious design, once admired, was now interpreted as a fortress for concealment. It became a chilling reminder that wealth and fame can sometimes serve as the perfect mask for horror. Clips from the raid, grainy but powerful, showed investigators descending into the underground passages, their flashlights carving through the shadows. The images spread like wildfire, embedding themselves into public consciousness. Memes, reaction videos, and dark jokes circulated alongside serious debates, reflecting the bizarre mix of horror and entertainment that defines modern internet culture. Experts weighed in daily. Criminologists discussed the psychology of control. Journalists highlighted the systemic failures that allowed warning signs to be ignored. Even casual viewers couldn't resist joining the conversation, speculating about timelines, hidden motives, and unconfirmed details. The story had transcended celebrity gossip. It had become a collective obsession. As days turned into weeks, one thing became clear: this was no ordinary scandal. It was a case that blended fame, power, and human darkness into a narrative almost too shocking to believe. Each new leak promised to be more disturbing than the last, and the public, horrified yet fascinated, waited with morbid anticipation. The mansion itself stood as a symbol, a towering reminder that behind Hollywood's polished image can lurk unthinkable secrets. Its tunnels, hidden rooms, and carefully erased stains told stories that no amount of money could bury. As investigators pushed deeper into evidence, one undeniable truth emerged: the legacy of this place and the man who owned it would forever be tied to terror and deception. And perhaps the most unsettling thought of all? The investigation wasn't finished. More secrets were waiting. More discoveries would surface. And with each revelation, the world would be forced to confront just how far the shadows of fame could reach. They searched drains, trash piles, hidden corners. Nothing was left untouched. And then came the discovery that changed everything. Beneath a rug and a disguised basement panel lay a narrow tunnel. At first, agents thought it might lead to a wine cellar or a hidden game room. But as they stepped into the darkness, the stench hit first. It was human. Inside the winding passage, storage boxes and bins cluttered the path. Mixed in were discarded belongings. And then they saw it: human remains. Not one, not just Celeste. Multiple bodies, concealed with care, as if this place had been used again and again as a dumping ground. Alongside the remains, FBI teams seized digital devices. What they found was chilling: chat logs, deleted messages, time-stamped uploads, and photos that suggested meticulous planning. Conversations tied D4vd to unnamed associates, hinting at meetings arranged to keep everything hidden. This wasn't reckless behavior. It was organized, deliberate, and disturbingly methodical. The internet caught fire. Hashtags like #D4vdTunnel, #HollywoodHorror, and #CelesteMystery shot to the top of trending lists. Twitter spiraled into conspiracy theories. TikTokers dissected leaked footage frame by frame. Reddit filled with maps of the mansion, users hunting for more tunnels or hidden rooms. It felt like the city itself had been holding its breath, and now the darkest truth was seeping out. Leaks hinted that some of the tunnels had existed for years. This wasn't just a home. It was a hub, a command center with hidden compartments and rooms that could hold victims until they were never seen again. Families of Celeste were shown some of the footage. Their grief mixed with rage, and their voices only fueled public outcry. Neighbors admitted they'd noticed strange movements and heavy security, but brushed it off as celebrity life. Now, with hindsight, those details felt chilling. "We thought it was just Hollywood being Hollywood," one resident said. But this is horrifying. The deeper the search went, the clearer the picture became. Personal items tied to Celeste were recovered, fake IDs, tattoos, and even fabricated digital profiles. It looked as though her entire identity had been tracked and manipulated. The mansion itself bore scars of frantic cover-ups, chemical residue, concealed panels, hidden cleaning supplies. Nothing suggested impulse. Everything suggested control. For investigators, the pressure was crushing. Every leak risked chaos. Every discovery risked exposure. Yet the world was watching, demanding answers. The line between truth and speculation blurred as the public built their own narrative in real time. By the time agents emerged from that 12-hour nightmare, their evidence bags were full, but their expressions said more than words. This wasn't just about one victim. It wasn't even just about one mansion. It was about power, secrecy, and horror dressed in the disguise of wealth. The mansion, once admired as a symbol of success, was now branded the real-life horror house of Hollywood. Media crews scrambled for exclusive shots. Journalists described it as luxury turned into a stage for terror. Fans, investigators, and families were left with one lingering question. Backhand index pointing right, how many more secrets are buried under the glittering surface of fame, waiting to be uncovered? Within minutes of the news breaking, hashtags erupted across social media. Hashtag D4vd tunnel, hashtag Hollywood horror, hashtag Celestia's mystery, hashtag FBI raid, and hashtag dark secrets of Hollywood. TikTok creators jumped on the story, cutting together timelines, pulling clips from surveillance footage, and even trying to reconstruct the mansion in 3D. On Reddit, thousands of users clashed in heated debates, each thread a battlefield of theories and speculation. The questions spread faster than the facts. How many victims were there? Was it planned from the start? Could an even larger network be hiding in plain sight? Some users were horrified, others skeptical, but the longer the details trickled out, the harder it was to ignore the possibility that D4vd's mansion was much more than just a luxury home. Twitter summed up the public mood in real time. One user wrote, "Hollywood Hills just became the scariest zip code in America." Another added, "A $4.1 million mansion, hidden tunnels, and human remains. This isn't a script. It's real life." Outrage, disbelief, and chilling theories piled up in comment sections, while anonymous leaks of FBI reports only added fuel to the fire. Whispers of luminol tests showing blood in areas unrelated to Celeste Rivas sent shockwaves online. Even though those findings weren't officially confirmed, the mere suggestion of multiple victims made the story explode further. Suddenly, every piece of D4vd's glamorous lifestyle, his lavish parties, tight security, and odd late-night movements, took on a sinister undertone. Influencers and YouTube investigators dug in. They froze frames of D4vd's live streams, pointing out what looked like suspicious floorboards or hidden panels. "That's not a design choice," one TikToker insisted. "That's a warning sign we all missed." Fans became amateur detectives, scrutinizing old videos, posts, and even wardrobe choices for hidden clues. The theories spiraled. Some believed D4vd was part of a larger underground network, using the mansion's tunnels not only to conceal victims, but to intimidate and control them. Others thought the layout was designed purely for evidence storage and secrecy. Online sleuths cross-referenced property records, leaked chat logs, and surveillance snippets, building timelines that painted the house as a fortress of horror. When blurry photos surfaced, allegedly showing D4vd inside the tunnel, public outrage erupted. The images were grainy, but the implication was crystal clear. He wasn't ignorant of what lay beneath his home. Fans began comparing those photos with past appearances, analyzing body language and expressions for signs of guilt. Major news outlets couldn't look away. CNN, Fox, and the LA Times ran live updates. Analysts were invited to break down forensics, psychological profiles, and the dark intersection of celebrity power with alleged criminality. Headlines screamed, "Hollywood horror. FBI uncovers tunnel and human remains in rising star's mansion." The fallout was immediate. D4vd's label, Inner Cope Records, froze all promotions. Crocs and Hollister yanked collaborations. The Grammy Museum quietly erased his name from exhibits. In a matter of hours, a career built on millions of streams and sold-out tours collapsed into dust, replaced by a narrative of betrayal and horror. Meanwhile, seized laptops and phones revealed even more. Screenshots of Discord chats, timestamps, and metadata painted a picture of someone who had documented everything: live streams, private conversations, and movements within the mansion, as though curating his own story of control. It was methodical, calculated, and deeply disturbing. Fan reactions split in two camps. Some swore D4vd was framed, insisting the evidence could have been planted. Others were convinced he had orchestrated everything, pointing to security footage and digital traces as undeniable proof. Twitch streamers like XQC and Luig picked apart the details live, their audiences arguing fiercely in real time. Fans, reporters, and self-styled detectives pieced together clues, dissecting footage and theories like they were part of the case. Clips of the tunnel search, shaky videos of the mansion's exterior, and even interviews with stunned neighbors circulated millions of times. Each new detail layered the story with more horror. The question hanging over everything was simple: what else was hidden inside? The FBI kept digging. Each day brought whispers of new evidence. Secret rooms, coded logs, devices with files too disturbing to release. The raid no longer felt like the climax of the story, it was just the beginning. D4vd's empire collapsed in real time. His label, Intercope Records, dropped him without hesitation. Crocs and Hollister scrubbed his name from their sites. Festivals swapped him out of lineups overnight. The Grammy Museum erased him from exhibits. What took years to build crumbled in days. Analysts estimated that millions in touring and streaming revenue vanished almost instantly. Meanwhile, online debates grew even louder. Some fans swore he had been framed, arguing that remains could have been planted. Others pointed to the forensic evidence, digital records, and tunnel layout as undeniable proof. Influencers and live streamers hosted heated debates, while armchair detectives shared maps, diagrams, and timelines. Leaked FBI memos only made things darker, suggesting the mansion could have been used to store victims for months, maybe even years. Neighbors recalled vans arriving late at night, foul smells drifting across the hills, and heavy security that now looked less like protection and more like concealment. Psychologists weighed in on live TV, describing patterns of obsession, control, and manipulation. This wasn't random, one expert explained. It was calculated. Every tunnel, every camera, every record was part of a larger system of control hidden behind fame. The more evidence surfaced, the more the mansion itself seemed to tell a story. Once a fortress of celebrity luxury, it was now seen as a monument to secrecy and manipulation. Every inch of marble and gold-plated trim masked a web of horrors the world was only beginning to understand. And the public couldn't look away. Memes mixed with outrage. Reaction videos collided with leaked documents. Hashtags like #D4vdTunnel, #HollywoodHorror, and #Celestia Mystery stayed locked in the global trending lists. What started as a scandal had evolved into something much larger, a cultural reckoning with fame, secrecy, and power. For investigators, the work was just beginning. Each day revealed new layers, cryptic messages, suspicious financial trails, and hints that others may have been involved. Prosecutors prepared charges not only for murder, but also obstruction, evidence tampering, and possible conspiracy. D4vd's legacy was already sealed. He was no longer a rising star. He had become a cautionary tale, a reminder that behind wealth and glamour can lurk deception, horror, and control. And yet, the biggest question remains unanswered. How deep does this go? How many more secrets are still buried beneath the mansion's floors? Who else might be connected to this nightmare? The world is waiting. The story isn't over. If anything, it's only getting darker.